$6 billion. And that's not million, that is billion with a B.
It is an almost incomprehensible amount of money, honestly.
It's a massive number. But right now, this data center and infrastructure company called IREN, they are trying to pull exactly that much cash straight out of the stock market.
It's reaching right in.
Exactly. And if you hold shares in this space, or even if you're just watching this whole AI infrastructure boom from the sidelines, you really need to understand exactly how this massive financial lever gets pulled behind closed boardroom doors.
Yeah, the mechanics of it are crucial.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are jumping into this $6 billion stock filing, and our mission today is to cut right through the Wall Street jargon. We want to uncover how structural corporate fundraising mechanics directly impact you, the everyday retail investor.
And, we are operating from a very specific, a very stark warning today. Our analysis comes from an observer who actually holds 0 positions in this company.
Zero skin in the game.
Right? Absolutely no financial skin in the game regarding whether IREN goes up or down. Their sole focus is breaking down why this massive filing is absolutely not just market noise.
Which is exactly how a lot of people are trying to brush it off on the financial forums right now. They're just calling it noise.
Yeah. And that's a dangerous dismissal.
It really is. So let's look at the actual numbers to set the table here. IREN currently has a market cap of about $11.7 billion.
Okay.
And they are sitting on 4.5 gigawatts of power capacity. I mean, in the world of data centers, 4.5 gigawatts is just a staggering amount of energy.
It's massive. But power capacity alone doesn't actually print money, right?
Exactly. To monetize that footprint in the middle of this AI boom, they need the hardware. They need racks upon racks of highly expensive GPUs to actually lease out that compute power to AI developers.
Bleeding-edge hardware is not cheap.
No, it's not. And to buy those GPUs, they have filed for a $6 billion at-the-market, or ATM, offering.
Which is really the entire crux of the issue here. I mean, you cannot just gloss over a single filing that represents more than half of a company's entire market cap.
Literally more than half.
Yeah. The core reality is that IREN has this incredible power capacity, but they are currently sitting on it without the necessary capital to fully outfit it.
Right, they need the cash.
Desperately. The AI compute gold rush requires that bleeding-edge hardware, and that hardware requires billions in upfront capex. IREN needs cash to realize the value of their own infrastructure.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if dismissing this filing as noise is dangerous, we really need to completely understand the underlying mechanics of what an ATM actually does to a stock.
It's a very specific tool.
Right, because this isn't a secondary offering where, a block of shares is sold at a fixed negotiated price to institutional buyers.
No, an at-the-market offering is essentially a legal license for the company to just create brand new shares out of thin air.
Just poof, new shares.
Poof. And then they drip feed them directly onto the open market at whatever the current trading price happens to be.
So they get to extract up to $6 billion in cash, and they do it without paying a single cent in interest.
Unlike a traditional bank loan, yeah. It functions exactly like a dilution machine.
A dilution machine.
IREN hits a button, new shares flood the market, and the company absorbs the cash. And the structural mechanic of that continuous trip, that is what makes it so lethal to the current share price.
So imagine you own a rare comic book collection. Say you have a limited run of 10 issues, and it's super valuable because it's rare.
Okay, tracking.
But then suddenly, the publisher just decides to print 10 million more identical issues and floods the market with them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. Your specific collection didn't physically change, but its value just completely plummets because the supply exploded.
That's a perfect way to visualize it.
So is this $6 billion ATM essentially a structural mechanism that wipes out any chance of the stock's price going up for current holders?
That is the exact wealth extraction mechanism at play here. Your slice gets thinner while the company's bank account gets fatter.
Man, that's brutal.
It is. And what the data heavily emphasizes is that this $6 billion ATM isn't just optionality.
Right. You hear that buzzword a lot.
You hear it thrown around all the time by management teams. Oh, we just filed the ATM to have the option on the shelf. We might not even use it.
Just in case.
Right, just in case. But the math here dictates that this is a necessity.
Because they don't have the money otherwise.
Exactly. IREN lacks the funds required to finance the GPUs needed to actually monetize their 4.5 gigawatts.
Yeah.
They have to sell these newly minted shares, likely at any price, just to build their business.
Just to keep moving forward.
Otherwise, there would be zero logical reason to file an ATM of this colossal market-breaking size.
But look, let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of retail investors are looking at this from a completely different angle. I mean, we are in the middle of a historic AI boom.
Absolutely.
NVIDIA is selling every chip they can manufacture. Every major tech company on Earth is scrambling for compute power. So if IREN is building the exact infrastructure the future desperately needs, isn't buying the stock when it drops a smart long-term play?
I see where you're going with this.
Like, even if there is some short-term dilution pain, aren't you just getting in early on the literal bedrock of the AI revolution? Just buying the dip?
What's fascinating here is that the analysis directly dismantles that exact assumption.
Really? How so?
It argues that IREN actually operates with a dwindling moat.
A dwindling moat.
Yeah. The early advantage of simply securing power capacity, it's shrinking. Massive tech giants and much better capitalized competitors are spinning up their own highly optimized data centers right now.
Right. The big guys are entering the chat.
Exactly. And the comparison drawn in the notes is really striking. They label IREN as the AMC of data centers.
Oof. That is a brutal comparison.
It really is.
I mean, AMC being the ultimate meme stock. A company that stayed afloat almost entirely on the sheer stubborn momentum of retail investors just constantly buying the dip.
Rather than operating on self-sustaining business fundamentals. Exactly.
Right.
That comparison implies IREN looks increasingly like a company surviving on retail enthusiasm.
Just living off the hype.
The retail investor sees a red day in the market, a drop in the stock price, and they think, great, it's on sale. I'm getting a massive discount on an AI infrastructure play.
But they aren't accounting for the mechanics of the ATM.
Precisely. The price isn't dropping because the broader market is just having a bad day. The price is being artificially suppressed because the company is actively injecting new supply into the bid.
So every single time retail aggressively buys the dip.
The company's right there on the other side of the trade, just happy to sell them newly printed shares.
Wow.
Retail is essentially feeding their own hard-earned capital directly into a $6 billion dilution machine. You aren't investing in future infrastructure, you're catching a falling knife.
Hold on, though. If the stock inevitably crashes under the weight of this relentless dilution, the executive's net worth should crash right alongside it, right?
You would definitely think so.
Because why would a board of directors voluntarily hit a $6 billion dilute button if it completely wipes out their own equity portfolio? I mean, you don't sink the ship you are standing on.
You wouldn't think so, no.
Yeah.
But this is where we have to look at the historical track record of the people pulling the levers.
Okay.
Because this isn't theoretical, and it isn't an isolated incident. The documentation explicitly points to the IREN board of directors and their documented history with these exact types of excessive ATMs.
Right. I'm looking at the historical precedent in our notes right now. They specifically highlight an individual named Mike, and they point to previous companies associated with this specific leadership team.
Yes.
They mention a company called BKKT, and the notes indicate that BKKT crashed 99%.
99%.
A 99% drop isn't a bad quarter. That is the total catastrophic destruction of shareholder wealth.
Completely wiped out.
A $100 investment literally turns into a single dollar. And they also mention another recent company, AST, following a similar trajectory.
It's a highly specific pattern of behavior.
Yeah, it really is.
It is a pattern that demonstrates exactly what happens to a stock's price when it is subjected to relentless, structurally mandated dilution.
So the business survives, but the stock dies.
The underlying business might secure the cash it needs to keep the lights on, sure.
Oh.
But the equity value of the shares traded on the open market, that is ground down to absolutely nothing.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
If a stock crashes 99%, how do the executives walk away unscathed? I mean, how are they not completely ruined alongside the retail investors who trusted them?
That's the million-dollar question.
Literally. If I'm the CEO and my stock goes to near zero, I should be financially devastated. But I'm guessing, based on this pattern, they have a workaround.
They do.
Is this where SBC or stock-based compensation comes into play?
That is exactly the loophole. The reality of corporate compensation mechanics is that the executives don't actually care what the stock price is when they sell these ATM shares.
Because their payout is entirely insulated from the damage they cause.
Exactly.
Because they can just recalibrate their own compensation packages. Let me see if I have the scale of this right.
Go ahead.
If an executive contract dictates they get paid, say, $1 million in equity, and the stock is trading at $100, the board issues them 10,000 shares.
Right.
But if the management team dilutes the company to raise cash and crashes the stock down to $1, That executive doesn't lose their $1 million, do they?
Nope, not at all.
They just have the board issue them 1 million individual shares instead to make up the exact difference.
Yes.
They just alter the math to ensure they get paid regardless of the cratering share price.
That is the exact mechanism. The ATM is massively accretive to the company's balance sheet. It brings in billions in cash to fund the operations and keep the enterprise moving.
Well, the stock crashes.
While the stock price crashes due to the dilution, wiping out the retail shareholders who bought those shares with actual cash.
Yeah.
But the executives...
They just issue themselves a lifeboat.
Exactly. A lifeboat made of newly minted SBC shares. The analysis actually compares this tactic to Mame,
Oh, Pia.
which is notorious in the market for utilizing heavy stock-based compensation to enrich management while the public share price just stagnates or drops.
So the executives secure a massive $6 billion cash pile to build out their gigawatt capacity. They secure their own personal compensation through infinitely adjustable SBC.
Yep.
And the only actual casualty in the entire equation is the everyday retail investor who thought they were making a smart play on the AI boom.
Sadly, yes.
It's like sitting at a poker table where the house not only sets the rules, but can just change the value of the chips mid-hand to make sure they never lose.
While you're placing your bets entirely in the dark.
Exactly.
It is a massive transfer of wealth, plain and simple. Retail capital is treated as a disposable resource to fund corporate ambitions.
But wait, if an ATM is essentially this equity vampire that destroys the retail base, how should a company actually fund this kind of growth?
That's the real question we need to ask.
Because we established earlier that building out 4.5 gigawatts of power and filling it with high-end GPUs takes billions of dollars.
It takes a fortune.
They can't just manifest that hardware out of thin air. So instead of treating the stock market like a free, endless ATM, shouldn't they be utilizing debt structures?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, are there better ways to go long on infrastructure that don't mechanically punish the shareholder?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the analysis is very clear that there are much healthier, structurally sound alternatives.
Okay, what are they?
Raising capital isn't inherently evil, right? It's the mechanism used to raise it that determines who bleeds. The data points to two vastly superior methods for protecting retail capital while still funding hypergrowth.
Oh, got it.
The first is convertible notes with attached interest.
Right. So instead of just printing shares, they take on a structured loan from institutional investors.
Yeah.
They pay actual interest on that debt, and maybe it converts to equity down the line under highly specific negotiated terms.
Yes, terms that are locked in.
That forces the company to be responsible with the cash, right? Because they have to actually service that debt.
Exactly. It enforces fiscal discipline. When capital costs you money in the form of interest, you are highly incentivized to deploy it efficiently.
Right. You can't just waste it.
But when capital is free, which is exactly what an ATM feels like to a management team discipline, just goes completely out the window.
That makes a lot of sense. What was the second method?
The second major alternative highlighted is securing balance sheet funding directly from the tech giants themselves.
Like who?
Giants like NVIDIA.
Oh, which makes perfect logical sense.
Right.
If you are building a massive AI data center to house NVIDIA chips, securing vendor financing or direct backing from NVIDIA itself is basically the ultimate stamp of approval.
It is a massive market signal. If a titan like NVIDIA is willing to fund your balance sheet, it means your underlying business model, your power contracts, and your infrastructure plans have been thoroughly vetted.
Vetted by the smartest players in the industry.
Exactly. It proves your moat is real. But the crucial why behind both of these alternatives, convertible debt and strategic corporate funding, is the impact on the capitalization table.
How so?
These methods allow a company to raise the billions necessary to scale, but they do not flood the open market with new supply.
So the stock price doesn't tank.
Right. They protect the equity of the everyday people who invested their own money into the company's vision.
It's the fundamental difference between building a company with your shareholders versus building a company on the backs of your shareholders.
That is the perfect distinction. And really, that is the core of the warning we are looking at today. IREN has clearly chosen the path that views retail liquidity as an endless disposable fuel source.
Just burning through it.
Yeah. They are opting for the $6 billion dilution machine rather than taking on the rigorous discipline of convertible debt or, securing the ultimate validation of strategic tier one partnerships.
Man, we have covered some intense ground here today.
We really have.
We started with a staggering $6 billion filing and unpacked a structural financial system that is, frankly, aggressively hostile to the average person logging onto their brokerage app.
It's a tough landscape out there.
It is. Let's distill the core takeaway for you, the listener. If you are navigating this market, especially within these hyper-hyped tech and AI infrastructure sectors, you always have to look past the press releases.
Read the fine print.
Do not just look at what a company claims to be building. Look at the exact mechanical levers they are pulling to pay for it.
Exactly.
If you find yourself in a position where you have to constantly wonder if your equity is going to get diluted into oblivion by an excessive looming ATM, there are simply better, more structurally sound long-term investments out there than IREN.
There really are.
You do not have to volunteer your capital to play a game where the deck is mechanically stacked against you.
This raises an important question, though. And it's a concept I want you to really turn over in your mind as you watch this AI revolution unfold.
Let's hear it.
We are entering an era of unprecedented capital-intensive technological expansion. The infrastructure required for the future of artificial intelligence. I mean, the massive server farms, the liquid cooling, the gigawatts of dedicated power. It is the modern equivalent of building the transcontinental railroads or the interstate highway system.
It's civilization-altering stuff.
It is. But if these massive world-altering infrastructure projects are increasingly being funded by quietly sacrificing the wealth of everyday retail investors through relentless structural dilution, what does that ultimately mean for the future economy?
Oh, wow.
When the dust finally settles in a decade and these impenetrable technological monopolies are fully built and generating unimaginable wealth, will the everyday people who unwittingly bankroll them actually own any meaningful piece of that future?
Or will they have simply served as the disposable, temporary scaffolding for someone else's empire?
Exactly, is a heavy thought.
It is. So what does this all mean? It means the X-ray machine of the financial world isn't broken. You just have to know how to read the scans.
Well said.
You have to look past the blinding hype of gigawatts and AI compute to see the $6 billion ATM filings hiding in plain sight.
They're right there in the filings.
Keep questioning the financial mechanics behind the headlines, protect your hard-earned capital, and never let a management team convince you that massive structural dilution is just market noise. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Stay curious, and we'll catch you next time.